Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 10th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Let's see here. Saturday has been pretty good. I almost want to say chill, and I mean like not cold, but obviously good, cool. But weather's been pretty nice, at least from inside my house. I gotta go take my walk, so maybe I report back tomorrow. But I will say, I remember kind of waking up when you're in that state in the day off where you wake up early and you're like, I'm not ready to get up yet, and then you fall back asleep, right? So I had that happen, and in that moment, I found myself instinctually reaching for my sheet, which I haven't done in months. And I was like, oh man, am I getting a little nippy, eh? So, hey, that's good. I'm happy that autumn is coming, fall is coming. I'm ready for it. It's my favorite season. I think I've gotten so caught up in my hate of summer and my hate of winter that I sometimes dread I don't enjoy the fall like I should, And I'm like, no, let's try to enjoy that. So when the weather is kind of shifting, I already noticed that there's some leaves hitting the ground, changing the color just a little bit. I'm taking that in, I'm relishing it. So, that's good. That's been nice, once again, from inside my house. Let's see here. Food corner. It was pizza day last night. So, we went to Domino's. Man, a Domino's sponsor would be sick. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know, problematic, but I would take a sponsor. So Domino's, hit me up. I'm loyal. Let's see. But what did I order? I got the two medium pizzas. I got the what is it? The Philly cheesesteak pizza, which I feel like is the signature pizza for Domino's. Call me crazy, but I feel like if you're gonna pick a signature pizza that's their best one, it's that. I don't know. You chime off in the comments if you know better or if you feel a different way, whatever. Let's see here. And then what else did I get? We also got it New York style. So I guess that's relevant because the other one I got hand toss style. So it was nice to finally get to compare the two side by side. But the other one was a pepperoni, banana pepper, and barbecue base. And I will say, doing the comparison, the Philly cheesesteak pizza won out overall in terms of just and that's hard to beat. I mean, that's a specialty pizza. They put all this shit on it. It's kind of doing its thing. Plus, the other one, it felt like it wasn't enough barbecue sauce a little bit. And I had extra cheese on it. That's another thing I forgot to mention. So I don't know. The ratio wasn't perfect, but it was good. It was fine. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I definitely enjoyed the Philly one more. But to the crust. Ooh, the hand tossed, they've come a long way with that shit. I remember when I first ordered Domino's, it was all this crummy nonsense. It really wasn't that good. It felt very tacky, very stodgy almost. I feel like I could have used that word back then. But now it's got a lot more flavor. I feel like they're putting some garlic parmesan or something on there. They're doing something a little different. It's better. I'll say that much. Man, I sound like such a fucking Domino's op, but it really is fine. It is fine pizza for the price. I will say that. Before Domino's, I was kind of just a pizza nomad. I was eating pretty much everywhere but Pizza Hut, because I think Pizza Hut's probably my least favorite. Back in the day with the pizza buffet, that was cool, but we're not there anymore. Now they're spray painting the fucking pizza with the butter. It's a thing. I hated that. That broke my soul when I saw that. Let's see here. I'm getting in the weeds and we haven't even started. I'm sorry. We're talking about pizza and I could just kind of go all day. Let's see here. Is there anything else I really wanted to talk about besides the state of pizza? No, I think we got to get into some serious new shit. So let's go ahead and do our startup and then we'll go ahead and get into it. And hopefully we will do our best to have a good time throughout it all, despite the fact that most of this news is, not so great. Not so fun. Oh, yeah. Okay. Our first story comes from CNN. More than 90 Palestinians killed in Israeli strike on school and mosque sheltering displaced people, Gaza officials say. At least 93 Palestinians have been killed in an Israeli strike on a school and mosque in Gaza sheltering displaced people, according to local officials. Gaza's civil defense said people were performing dawn prayers at Al Tabiyin compound in the Al Daraj neighborhood in the eastern part of Gaza City when it was hit overnight into Saturday. Israel confirmed it carried out the strike, saying Hamas was operating there. And when they say Hamas was operating there, they say, and they can't confirm it, or at least CNN can't confirm what they said, the IDF, is that, we suspect that maybe about 20 were Hamas, and that justified us doing this fucking atrocity. I just wanted to note that. The video seen by CNN of the aftermath of the strike show a large number of bodies strewn on the ground. Witnesses said there was no advance warning of the attack. I do love that. I love that when the IDF, sometimes, especially in the beginning of this shit, they like to talk about this routine they were wont to do of saying, hey, we put out leaflets, or we would do like blank shot missiles and stuff like that to let people know we were going to do this shit. But like now I guess the gloves are so off that it's like, yeah, no, we're just going to bomb a place that we know innocent people are just sheltering, and we're just going to just fucking eviscerate them. It's fine. This is going to accomplish our goal. You know, well, we're killing these commanders and we're killing the Hamas operatives at large. We're doing it. We're flattening it. And it's like, you're not. You know that what you're doing is a genocide. There's just no other way to classify it or clarify it. Like, I hate when I hear people try to call this shit fucking complicated. It's not. It's just fucking not, dog. But, yeah, that's, y'all know I like to start this shit just so I can get through it because it's hard. Let me just run through this. After CNN asked the IDF for evidence supporting its claim, the compound harbored a command and control center. They do have to say that. It said it had intelligence saying about 20 Hamas and Islamic Jihad fighters operated from the building. The IDF also disputed the death toll given by Gazan authorities. I love that. They're like, I'm sure it's smaller. I'm sure it's not 90 and rising. I'm sure it's something much smaller. This is being exaggerated. No, like, come on, dude. We're well over 40,000 at this point in terms of the overall fucking death total. Not to mention the people injured, maimed, like, we'll never know the full amount of this fucking shit. And then once again, we have to be very specific that we are just talking about this shit just from October 7th up to now. Not all the historical shit up to this shit from like the fucking Nakba point. You know what I mean? Which feels like we talk about less and less, unfortunately, because motherfuckers just want to talk about October 7th and then just to justify why we are blowing up children and women and all these people who don't have any involvement in what happened on October 7th. But like, whatever. I just cannot reiterate this shit enough. I know sometimes I do maybe graze over it or what have you, but when this shit comes up, especially when you see these kind of numbers and you just hear motherfuckers trying to just brush it off like it's nothing. Not to mention that this is stuff this is U.S. backed. This is U.S. funded. This is our munitions. It's our bombs. It doesn't matter whether it's Trump, whether it's fucking Biden, whether it's potentially, the ascendant Kamala Harris. It doesn't matter. It's our shit, and we're back into play every fucking time. It's crazy to me that that's just what we're doing. When we literally could call them up and just say, look, dude, you got to stop this shit. This is too far. This is really actually the red line. We're not giving you any more weapons. No more weapons. None of this coy shit. You could just call them up, dead stop this shit, and things would change. It is an actual fact and people know that, but we're not gonna do that. So yeah, like, that's why people, scream at us. That's why people are mad at Kamala Harris at like rallies in Michigan. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, she doesn't really have an answer because she knows that she's gonna back this shit. So yeah, had to talk about this / get this out of my fucking system. Let's go ahead and get into some other news. It's somehow lighter, even though we're talking about blowing up ATMs, but I'll take it. from Front Page Detectives. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like this site. I sometimes give a review of sources that I get it from. I will say I feel like it's all right. I feel like it's on the level. Oh, excuse me. But a lot of shit in the way, at least on the entry, like a lot of pop-ups, stuff like that. I know you guys don't care about this shit, but hey, you're in my head right now for these 20, 30 minutes, sometimes plus. I'm trying. All right, Pennsylvania man looking to cash in with a bang blew up ATMs and stole over $400,000. Prosecutor. A Pennsylvania man was sentenced to more than 7 years in prison for using explosives to rob several ATMs, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania said Wednesday. Kushmir McBride, 25, was originally charged in connection with the explosive incidents along with two others in April of 2021, then by a superseding indictment in January of 2022. In January of this year, he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to maliciously damage property used in interstate commerce by means of an explosive, aiding and abetting, and 5 counts of maliciously damaging property used in interstate commerce by means of an explosive. I'm always kind of mystified by people who are willing to use explosives like this, mainly because I never have that kind of moxie. I'm just not an explosives guy. I'm the type of guy who's scared on the 4th of July that I don't want to blow off my fingers, okay? I don't want to make a mistake and potentially die. So explosives are crazy to me. So it's crazy throughout all this. I didn't hear any recordings of anyone getting hurt, despite the fact that they were able to pull this kind of heist off multiple times. The first crimes took place in the immediate aftermath. Actually, I want to fast forward this. They talk about the shooting of Walter Wallace, which is obviously very fucked up. Actually, this would have been before we were recording. I don't like how they kind of give the coverage. They try to say a little bit of both sides, whatever. So blah, blah, blah. Skipping ahead to them actually doing the heist. On October 28th, 2020, McBride and co-defendants Nasser McFall, 25, and Kamar Thompson, 37, conspired to break into a Target store in the Port Richmond section of Philadelphia and set off an explosive device in order to steal money from an ATM device, or ATM inside. I wonder what kind of explosive ordnance they were using. They don't say here. But on October 29th, the defendants broke into a Wawa convenience store on Richmond Street, where they set off explosive devices in order to steal money from the ATM. On October 31st, they broke into another Wawa in Northeast Philadelphia and detonated an explosive device. I wonder if after the Target, they realized that was way too hot and not worth the risk, and they just said, yeah, let's just do convenience stores. That's probably way smarter, easier to get in and out of. I don't know, because I feel like doing a Target is really risky. But you're whatever, maybe that's the most bougiest option. We'll get the biggest payout for what we're doing. Literally, bang for your buck. On November 4th, the defendants set off an explosive device in another Wawa in Claremont, Delaware, in an attempt to rob the ATM. And on December 2nd, the defendant set off an explosive device inside an ATM at Wells Fargo Bank in Philadelphia. McBride was also charged with additionally setting off an explosive device at a Wells Fargo ATM in Philadelphia on March 2nd. So maybe I'm wrong here, because then they arc back up and they say, hey, let's actually hit a bank. But granted, you're hitting an ATM, so once again, easier, but still, I feel way more risk. In total, the defendants were able to steal approximately $417,000. McBride and crew carried out a string of violent and dangerous crimes, looking to cash in with a bang. U.S. Attorney Jacqueline C. Romero said in a statement. Excuse me again. And a third time. The trilogy. Whether you rob a bank with a note, a store with a gun, or an ATM with an explosive, you're committing a serious federal crime and should expect to be caught and prosecuted. As this defendant and his co-conspirators are learning, crime not only doesn't pay, it also costs you dearly. Yeah, okie dokie. You got it. I love a good lecture. Let's see here. Let's run through the counts. Thompson pleaded guilty in November of 2021 to conspiracy to maliciously damage property used in interstate commerce by means of an explosive, aiding and abetting, 6 counts of maliciously damaging property used in interstate commerce by means of explosives, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. McFall pleaded guilty to 5 counts against him in June of 2022, and in January of this year was sentenced to 78 months in prison plus 3 years of supervised release in order to pay $256,083 in restitution. McBride was sentenced to 90 months in prison plus 3 years of supervised release in order to pay $417,463 in restitution and $300 in special assessment. So, I mean, they got run up in fees and they're doing some jail time. Obviously, this shit does not fucking pay. Don't fucking do it. It's very dumb. But fucking crazy that they tried it, though. You know what I mean? Like, just like, yeah, we're going to blow up a fucking ATM and just fucking just get the money and then run. Easy peasy. Rinse and repeat. And he did that shit. Point Break style, I guess, in a way, just with bombs. So, yeah, that's the story. And I mean, I guess that's a good ending. I mean, I guess, justice for all. But yeah, let's move on to a bit of a tale. A bit of a, we're getting social again. We're talking about a bit of a YouTube celebrity and some controversy. Anyway, from the Associated Press, Mr. Beast wants full assessment of internal culture. Oh, you skipped ahead here. Whoa. Mr. Beast wants full assessment of internal culture amid allegations of impropriety and unsafe sets. Mr. Beast has ordered a full assessment of the internal culture and his YouTube empire, as well as an investigation into allegations of inappropriate behavior by people in the company, according to a confidential memo obtained by the Associated Press. Addressed to Team Beast employees, the message sent Wednesday outlines infrastructure changes, including plans to hire a chief human resources officer and require company-wide sensitivity training. The expanded probe signals that troubles inside YouTube's biggest channel could go deeper than the serious allegations facing a longtime collaborator acknowledged last month by Mr. Beast, whose real name is Jimmy Donaldson. So we've covered Mr. Beast a little bit on the pod, a bit about, his whole charity work. Is it ethical? Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But this to me is a beast of a different tale. It's hitting a bit different, and we're definitely getting into some things that I'm like, oh yeah, this is problematic. This is bad. Especially when you get past some of the lighter shit of of his youth, because this is a really fully loaded potato, and I really wasn't even sure I was going to cover it today. I realized I kind of had time, and I also noticed that too, bigger media outlets are covering this. This isn't now just condensed to just the YouTube reaction world and then random scant news places. No, the Associated Press is covering it. I think I maybe saw maybe NBC, whatever. Another one covered it too. And I was like, okay, but my problem is we're not fully there yet. There's more allegations to come. So I kind of got to get there with part 1, and then we're going to talk about potentially part 2 in the future of this story, at least from this podcast. Let's see here. Let's read a bit further. A quote from Mr. Beast himself. As your leader, I take responsibility, and I am committed to continue to improve and evolve my leadership style, Donaldson wrote. I recognize that I also need to create a culture that makes all of our employees feel safe and allows them to do their best work. Now, pause too. I didn't mention this before I got into this quote. It's crazy to me, and maybe I'm wrong here, but it sounds like from what I've read up to this point and what I'm understanding is that there's no HR here. And this is a $1 million YouTube empire. I don't feel like I'm being dramatic or hyperbolic saying that. And that's crazy to me that at the gate we're realizing, at least for me, that there's no fucking HR, dude. all the shit we're running here, we got people who are not involved with this project that are competing because this is a competition. We're doing like Fear Factor, reality style fucking shit here. And you're telling me you don't have an HR crew for your team? Bro, that's crazy. And it opens up a world to me, and it reminds me that this was a kid who blew up and like it's just grind, and didn't think about any kind of consequences. Because someone should have told you, like, hey, man, you should have these kind of protocols and safeguards here so that no one's getting fucked over, so that nothing bad's happening here, so that you have at least some kind of liability coverage. But nope, Mr. Beast is not worried about that. Mr. Beast is worried about getting motherfuckers in yachts, once again, curing motherfuckers with cataracts and shit. He's running around doing all this fucking shit. And it's grind, yada, and there's some other shit that maybe not okay, but he's definitely not worrying about things like an HR. And that, to me, is a big blind spot. Just wanted to say that kind of up top. A spokesperson from Mr. Beast confirmed that the memo was sent to employees. The memo comes after a turbulent few weeks for the YouTuber, long adored by his young fans for freewheeling videos of outrageous giveaways and audacious charitable acts. Now, I know we talked about the Ava Chris Tyler situation. I guess you could say that's a bit of a part one to these slew of controversies. But I kind of feel like that's somewhat siloed, even though that kind of lends to this thing that I'm saying now of, like, there's no HR here. Like, oh, yeah. So, of course, like, people that your higher on guy is hiring on is, like, there's no accountability here because you have no one holding these people accountable. There's no glue for this shit. But Donaldson admitted previously to using inappropriate language last week after clips circulated online of past homophobic and racist remarks. An early production of his ambitious game show, set to feature 1,000 competitors and a $5 million grand prize, recently brought safety complaints from contestants who described a chaotic set where they lacked regular access to food, water, and medication. It does look like Donaldson has hired a white shoe law firm, Quinn and Emmanuel Urquhart and Sullivan, to investigate his friend and fellow creator Ava Tyson, who left the company in July after online accusations that she shared inappropriate sexual messages with minors, among other stuff. So there's that, but that doesn't address the other things in terms of the safety complaints. There's also more complaints, and this is where we're kind of getting into that part two stuff, where we don't have like the full information, at least I don't, but this guy by the name of Dogpack404 came out with a YouTube, and this is a person who used to work under Mr. Beast. Let me see if I can pull it up from, let's see, X, the Everything app, from his page. Bear with me, I know, should have been loading. Oh, that's it. There's three parts to this. But essentially the series is I worked for Mr. Beast. He's a sociopath. Now, I got to say, I'm a bit biased. I come through the lens of maybe you could say a Ludwig fan, and this is very online. But essentially, that's someone who's been a part of the Mr. Beast circle, at least in a way, in terms of like guest appearances and stuff like that. But I will say, watching at least, I think I watched, part one and part two. I don't like that there's, at least in the very beginning, a bit of a narrative slant to be kind of funny or whatever. It puts me off in the fact of, like, you're about to talk about some very serious stuff, and it makes me feel like this isn't serious. But then you get into it, and it really is talking about what has been going on in a lot of situations with Mr. Beast, how things have been run, and how, one, a lot of the shit is not real. It's very fake and very rehearsed, at least in a lot of these situations. And that's a bummer, right? I mean, I'm sure you want to believe in the magic of what you're seeing, and it's supposed to be reality, right? And it's like, oh, we're not even just talking like, oh, this is produced or like reality production. Like, no, it's like, it's just fake. Like, you know, some of it's like pretty much set up. And I think there's been rumors of that, but now you have people who have been working on the set saying, hey, like, that's real. But then also taking it to another level, and I think this is where you get to like the part two, where there's like sexual allegations and harassment, not by Mr. Beast himself, not by Donaldson, but by people he has hired, which once again, this is me referencing the HR bit. It's crazy that people do not have a place to go to in these situations where these are $1 million production sets. By the number, that's the facts. And you don't have someone to talk to or run to if there's a problem, there's something going on that's not okay. Like, who do you talk to in the situation? Another talent guy who you know is like a social celebrity or whatever? A friend of Mr. Beast? Someone in the entourage? Like, there's no one to go to. And like, when this starts to sink in for me and I'm like, that's so fucked. That's not good. So I definitely was one of those things, like, the more I've marinated on it, I'm like, yeah, dude, that's not good at all. And, you know, at the end of the day, once again, kind of going back to the charity bit, that's cool. Love that. Love what you're doing with that shit, baby. Keep giving wells to people in African countries and stuff. Awesome. Or whatever cool stuff you're doing. But, like, at the same time, you're moving like a guy who's just doing good stuff to cover up your bad stuff. And it's crazy that, like, we might have a dystopian beast this whole time. Like, it's like, dude, I can't. And it's like, I can see that just the hubris and just the, like, oh, I'm just so hustle culture or whatever. And it's just like, but dog, you have to have these kind of protocols. And like, I think you don't have these protocols, or you shy away from them because you don't want to have someone telling you no. And that's a big fucking problem. You know what I mean? That's greed. That shit get in the way. That's like, all right, we got to get the perfect shots. We got to get this. We got to get that. And there is a guy, what is it, in the dog pack video, I think his name is like Jake Weedle. You know, hearing his story, it's like, damn, dude, like the shit that you got put through, it's like, yeah, like, you know, you can opt out at any time, but at the same time, no one should be getting put through this kind of shit. Especially if Jake Weedle, this guy seemed to be more or less an entourage, kind of a part of the crew, at least to a certain extent. It's like, if you know this is fake and everyone knows this shit's fake, why are you making me do the real shit? Why am I being sleep deprived? Why am I, like, having to go through this shit for real, while meanwhile you're siloed away somewhere else, hanging out, doing whatever, fucking off? You know what I mean? Meanwhile, you have the situations where it's like, yeah, he's supposed to be like out at sea or whatever, and he's actually hanging out on a yacht. You know, at least that's reported or whatever. Allegedly, man. I should put the little quotations there. We're getting into that. No one cares. No one's gonna listen to me rant about Mr. Beast for real. But you know, hey, I wanted to get it out. I wanted to yap about it. There will be more, because I know, at least from what I've heard, Mr. Beast will probably come out with another statement after the Dog Pack 404 Part 3 video. So I'll keep you posted, or you can just, you know, do it yourself. I've given you the tools. So there we go. I want to close out. We're going to keep it YouTube related. This is a bit of sad news, bit of somber news. But yeah, let's go ahead and line one up for Susan Wojcicki. Wojcicki. It's Wojcicki. I think it's Wojcicki. I think I got it right on the second time. Mea culpa. But yeah, this one's for her. Even though I know she probably didn't partake, but you know. Anyway. Ooh. Ooh, not to be a grumbling Gus, my back is killing me. Anywho. And also, I know, like, did you just really light one up for a CEO? Yeah, I did. I don't know. I watched an interview from her, once again, referencing Ludwig. It was fine. She seems like an okay lady. You know, I mean, I get it. She's a CEO. It's a glorified mascot. But, like, she seemed all right. You know, I didn't get a beef from her aura. Anyway, former YouTube CEO and Silicon Valley trailblazer Susan Wojcicki has died at 56. Former YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki, who was one of the most influential early Google employees, has died at the age of 56, according to posts shared online by her husband Dennis Troper. I'm going to say Troper. And Google CEO Sundar Pichai on Friday night. Wojcicki led YouTube for nearly 10 years and was one of the only women to hold the CEO role at a big tech company in Silicon Valley. Wojcicki's husband, Dennis Troper, wrote on Facebook early Friday night, "It is with profound sadness that I share the news of Susan Wojcicki, of Susan Wojcicki's passing. I imagine that's what it's supposed to say. Or share the news. Yeah, I'm sorry. And my beloved wife of 26 years and mother to our 5 children left us today after 2 years of living with non-small cell lung cancer, which is very unfortunate. Which is another thing that kind of touched a certain kind of chord for me because that's how my mom passed. She initially had breast cancer and then went into remission and then wound up being lung cancer. So, that's a bummer. Also in a very similar age range, which once again, I've said this before on the podcast, like when someone gets to the age of like 65 and up, I consider them elderly, like old. And I know it's like, oh yeah, but it's like sometimes people think like that's not the case. And I'm like, cool that you had like people in your life that are old as fuck. And like, yeah, we had like 2 people do a presidential debate that were like damn near fucking prehistoric. But like, once again, cancer can just take you. You know what I mean? That shit can just happen. So, and it's also another thing that it's like, hey man, it really can just come for anybody. It doesn't matter what your tax bracket is. It's definitely a reminder of that. Let's see here. Pachai confirmed the death and cancer condition in a post on social media Friday, writing that he was unbelievably saddened by the loss. Condolences to the family. Just wanted to, make that of note. I know usually I'm usually throwing tomatoes and shit, but this one I'm not doing that so much. But yeah, that's the episode. That's where we'll leave it. I know I've been going long this week. I'm sorry. It's much to yap about. I don't know. I've been saying some things. But thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for hanging out. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, patreon.com/Xanews. Free ways to hit me up at xanews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials you're on. YouTube. Hopefully you're subscribed there. Hit the like button. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.